I realize by this point I am very tardy to the party, but nevertheless, I feel like I should talk about this. By now, I'm pretty sure everybody at this point knows that MatPat, the Game Theorist channel, is now going to be going away. Gone. This came as a shock to a lot of people online, myself included. I never thought that he would just walk away from YouTube, though he does have a very valid reason to do so. I didn't realize until I saw his video that he's been making videos for around 14 years, which is insane. That's a crazy number. That's like well over half my age. So the fact that he's been able to make such high quality videos for 14 years straight, with each and every single episode having hours and hours and hours of editing and research, it really is amazing. And if anybody deserves to go into retirement, it is definitely MatPat. But at the same time, it's kind of cause for concern for a couple people, because this is not the first retirement announcement that's come out of this year. And I feel like a lot of people have been kind of ignoring it and looking past it, but I think MatPat announcing his leave from the internet was kind of the catalyst that's starting to make people panic a little bit. The reason why is because there are a couple big hitting names that are now leaving. Tom Scott announced that he's leaving about 2 weeks ago. Meat Canyon's leaving for a little bit. Dan TTM is probably going to retire. Captain Sparkles is going to retire. And Stampy Longhead has finished his world that has been going around for 10 years? So you can kind of see the trend and kind of see what's happening. All of these heavy hitting names that have been on the internet for a very, very long time are now starting to walk away. And we've seen people leave YouTube before. That's not an uncommon occurrence. But it's different this time. I feel like a lot of the channels that have been leaving YouTube have been active for about maybe 4 or 5 years before they just begin to die down in popularity and then just kind of go off and do their own thing. That's a very common thing to see on YouTube. But this year specifically, I feel like a lot of the heavy hitting and kind of the OGs are starting to walk away. And what makes it even more different is they're walking away on their own volition. They're not being kicked out. We don't find out that they're horrible people years later. They're just walking away because they're done. They've done everything they need to do. And this has kind of started a chain reaction where people are starting to panic and start to think to themselves, who else is going to leave? Who else is going to rapture their way out of here? Because that's exactly what it is. It's like a giant rapture from YouTube, but instead of floating up into the heavens, they just don't log back on YouTube. That was a lot more sad than I thought it would be. But regardless, now people are wondering, is Jacksepticeye going to leave? Is Markiplier ever going to leave? Oh, and how could I be remiss to forget PewDiePie now has a kid, so he's not doing YouTube anymore. He's just doing whatever he wants to do. He's technically retired. He might post something here and there, but he's not going to do the constant, multiple times a week kind of upload. He doesn't need to. He's PewDiePie, man. But it's crazy. It's crazy. At the end of the day, YouTube is not your average job. It never really was. It's not your 9 to 5, 5 days a week, 35 years straight, and then retire in your 60s. It's not that job, and it really has never been that job. It's an extremely creative and privileged position to be in, being at that high level. And it really is a job that we haven't seen before. This is kind of the first steps. These are the test, the lab rats, I guess. Because there's not really a job that can really equate to being an online influencer. There's just not really anything to compare it to because it's kind of its first new genre of job, I guess. So there's not really a life expectancy that people can really look to and say, yeah, the job usually lasts this long, because we don't know. But now, as people are starting to leave, we're now starting to guess that maybe it's not going to be the 35 years that a normal job is. And that's not to say that YouTube's going away, because it's not. It's as popular as ever. There's always new people to fill that hole that YouTubers leave when they go away. The thing is, though, is it's an entire generation that's now leaving, because that's exactly what these channels are. They aren't just content creators, they kind of raised a generation. Most of these OGs have been making videos for 10 plus years, and these YouTubers and the videos that they made, they kind of raised this new generation that's going in, because, who watches TV anymore? Not me. Not me. Let's be completely honest, we all just sit on our phones or at our computers just watching YouTube videos endlessly on and on and on and on and on and on. That's just kind of what we were raised with, because that was the most unique thing at the time, the amount of content and the variety of things that you can watch on YouTube. It's astounding. And the fact that these big YouTubers are leaving, it's like a TV show going away. And let me tell you something, nobody likes it when a TV show ends. It sucks. It always sucks. It stings. It stings really, really bad right here in the old heart. But it's going to be interesting to kind of see what happens because of that. Who else is going to leave, if anybody else is going to leave? And I think it really does depend on kind of the content that people make, because there's some people who put kind of To put this in the most polite way I can, some channels put more kind of editing and process and time into the videos, and some people kind of post as they go. I feel like Penguins or Moist Critical is kind of the channel where you post as you go. It's not saying that it's lazy, because it's not. It's very unique, and his style of just talking to the camera, there's not a lot of post-production to it. It is very unique. But then you have channels like The Game Theorist and the stuff that MatPat has done, because every single video has an absurd amount that goes into it, both editing and research, as I've already said. And this guy posts like, what, once every week? More than? And on top of that, he has multiple channels. He has The Game Theorist, The Film Theorist, and a couple other channels that I don't quite remember at this time because there's so many. Needless to say, if I'm saying anything at all, if I'm just rambling at this point, if there's anybody on YouTube who deserves a retirement, it's definitely MatPat. He has made over 1,000 videos, been working for 14 years, non-stop, and just making banger after banger after banger. And let's just be fully honest here, I think Five Nights at Freddy's would not be as popular if it wasn't for him and his theories. I just don't think it would have been. And sure, that might be a hot topic, that might be a hot debate, you know, sue me. But I think that's just, it's just the fact. It's truth, all right? It's the truth. But I think these next couple of years are gonna be really interesting for YouTube. I think as these YouTubers are now starting to leave, it's going to kind of be interesting to see what YouTube turns into as these YouTubers, and especially MatPat, leaves this hole on the platform. And I know that somebody's taking over his channel, and that's great. They're going to continue to make theorist videos and stuff like that, but I just don't think it's going to be as popular as when MatPat was doing it. And that's not due to this new guy being worse or anything like that. It's just when the OG leaves, it's just not the same. But again, only time will tell what will happen with the Game Theorist channel, and only time will tell what will happen to these other big YouTubers. Will they leave? Will they stay? You know, who really knows? Who knows? But regardless if they stay or go, there's one thing for certain, and that's that those videos and the memories that they have given us over the years, those will always be with us. Unless they delete their channel. Machinima. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, if indeed you still are. My name is Brockster, and I bid you all adieu.